Whoa. Hello and welcome back to Not a Watch Snob. I am your host, Bill, and today we're going to be looking at Ingersoll watches, a true American watch. This watch was sent in by my good buddy Steve over at herostyle.org. If you're looking for a life coach, relationship coach, business coach, he is your man. Go ahead and visit him at herostyle.org. The link is in the description. If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. And here we go. The history of Ingersoll is pretty extensive. Ingersoll watches were born in New York City in 1882. Started by Robert Howley Ingersoll and his brother Charles. Ingersoll was very, very popular, and it was known for their $1 watch called the Yankee. Eventually, Ingersoll moved to Waterbury, Connecticut, where they started to produce other famous watches such as the Mickey Mouse watch in the 1930s. The company eventually went bankrupt. It was bought and flipped to so many different countries until eventually Xeon Watches came around and bought the Ingersoll name. The Herald Group, a Chinese company, now makes Ingersoll watches. Their once American-made movements are now Chinese seagulls. The new watches are now just an homage to the historic brand. However, one of the most interesting pieces of Ingersoll history is the Radium Girls. During World War I, Ingersoll was one of the first watches to create a luminescent trench watch that soldiers could use to see at night. They called this feature Radiolite. However, this new technology caused one of the darkest periods in American manufacturing. In 1898, the radioactive element radium was discovered by Marie Curie and her husband. Known to kill cancer cells, radium quickly became a cure-all in American society, without ever truly knowing the consequences. During World War I, Ingersoll was trying to figure out how to make their trench watches glow in the dark for the soldiers overseas. Eventually, they figured out that if you mix phosphorus with radium salt, it would produce a paint that would glow for hours on end. Thus, Radiolite was invented. During World War I, women at the time were the ones that were working in factories while their husband was overseas. They were the ones that applied radium to the dials. They were told at the time that radium was safe.
Paint our faces up and put mustaches, and a couple of girls painted their ears, and one time we had one girl that even painted her teeth and held her mouth open till it dried on there. See, it dried. And then the three of us, we went in the dark room to make faces at each other, see.
Eventually, these girls started to have adverse side effects. Their teeth would fall out unexpectedly. They were fatigued and in pain all the time. It was like their bodies were deteriorating from the inside. One girl's jaw became so weak that it eventually completely fell apart within her mouth. These girls would later die from their exposure to radium, and forever be known as the Radium Girls. The specs of this watch are as follows. Its movement is a seagull automatic, the dial is a beautiful dark blue, the case material is stainless steel, and it's got a beautiful matte finish to it. The size of this watch is a 46mm diameter case that's also 15 millimeters thick. It has a water resistance of 100 meters, and the strap is a genuine Hawthorne leather strap, and it's brown. The glass type is mineral crystal. The pros and cons of this watch are as follows. Pro. It's a mix between a field watch and a pilot watch, and it looks like a refurbished pocket watch, and I think that it is really, really cool. The con, though, is that this watch itself has no history. It's basically an homage to its former self. Other than the name, the watch really has no ties to the original company, and it kind of bothers me. I wish that they used like a refurbished maybe case or movement from the old Ingersoll pocket watches, just so that you could have some sort of tie to the original company. A pro, though, is that it is so comfortable on the wrist. I love this leather strap. It's something about those thick leather straps are just extremely comfortable to wear. A con, though, is that it is also extremely big. I mean, it looks like an old pocket watch, like I said, so it rides your wrist like a giant old pocket watch. Therefore, it is giant. A Pro is the open case back, which is somewhat decorated. I wish it kind of had more, but it's the effort that counts on this open case back. A Con is this pocket watch-esque crown that is really kind of annoying on the wrist. I mean, the minute you bend your wrist, it's always getting nicked by that enormous pocket watch crown that they have on this watch. One of the pros is the dial on this watch. I love the faded look to this watch. It looks like it is straight out of the 1800s or the 1900s, and I think there's something beautiful about that. Like I said, it's a mix, homage, refurbished pocket watch, so it really sticks to that history and theme. A huge con, though, is that it feels very cheap. Just something about this watch doesn't feel like it's of anything luxurious, and for a $500 price tag to $395 price tag, it's asking a hefty price for something that doesn't feel up to par, in my opinion. A Pro, though, is that presentation box. I love the certificate. I love the signature from Ingersoll's CEO. I just enjoy everything about that vintage-looking presentation case. All in all, this watch is pretty damn cool, though. So, is this watch worth it? Well, truthfully, I really don't know, because for the $395 price range that I've seen on Amazon, all the way down to the $130 price range that I've seen on eBay and other websites, I really don't know if this watch is worth it, just because there is no actual heritage, there is no actual history behind this watch. Honestly, I'm in the looks for a real Ingersoll watch. I'm in the looks for one that's an old pocket watch from Ingersoll, or a trench watch, which would be really cool to have in my collection. But as this newer brand goes, I really don't know if it's worth it. I want to say yes so bad, but I just wish that there was a link between this watch and the ones that made history. However, there is no link. So until that happens, I really can't truthfully say that this watch is worth it. If you're liking these videos, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. And remember, my name's Bill. I'm not a watch snob, and neither are you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.